You just got back from a 400-mile road trip and you are standing in the driveway, staring at the front of your car like someone just personally attacked you. The entire bumper looks like a bug graveyard. There are layers of dried, sun-cooked insect carcasses plastered across your paint from one side to the other. The side mirrors are caked in yellow and brown smears that have been sitting in direct sunlight for 6 hours at highway speed, and every single one of those little bodies has essentially welded itself onto your clear coat like biological cement. You grab the bug sponge from the garage, you spray on that aggressive green foam from the bottle you paid $22 for at the auto parts store, and you start scrubbing. Your shoulder is burning after the first minute. You can feel the resistance in the paint as you drag that sponge back and forth, pressing harder because the foam is not doing what the label promised. You are not removing bugs. You are sanding your own car. You can actually feel it if you pay attention. That slight gritty drag under the sponge is not the bugs releasing. That is your clear coat telling you it is under attack. And when you finally get the bumper clean after 12 minutes of physical labor, you step back and think it is done. But what you just did to the paint underneath those bugs is something no one in the detailing industry is ever going to voluntarily tell you about, because the moment you understand what actually happened, you will never buy their products again. So let me tell you the truth right now. You do not need a single dollar of specialty bug remover to solve this problem. You need something that is already sitting in your laundry room right this second, and it costs about 5 cents per use. A plain fabric softener dryer sheet, a basic, ordinary, off-brand dryer sheet that you use to keep your clothes from sticking together in the tumble dryer. That exact item is the most chemically effective, most paint-safe, most effortless bug removal tool that has ever existed for automotive surfaces. And the detailing industry has spent 20 years making sure you never find out about it because it would collapse an entire product category overnight. When you wet that dryer sheet and lay it flat against a baked-on bug splatter for 10 seconds, the protein structure of that insect body begins to disintegrate at a molecular level. No scrubbing, no shoulder burn, no micro scratches. The bug does not peel off because you applied force. It slides off because the bond between the insect proteins and your clear coat has been chemically dissolved by something that costs less than the interest on the debit card you used to buy the useless aerosol can. Now, before I show you exactly how to do this step by step, I need you to understand something important about the industry that has been selling you bug and tar removers your entire life, because what they have been doing to your car and your wallet is not an accident. It is an engineered cycle of destruction that starts the moment you spray their product on your bumper. The companies that manufacture automotive bug and tar removers are not selling you a solution. They are selling you the first step in a dependency loop that they designed from the beginning. Here is how the loop works. You buy the bug remover because your bumper is covered in insects. You spray it on and it strips away every single molecule of protective wax, sealant, or ceramic coating on the front end of your vehicle. The label might mention that it is safe for paint. What the label will never tell you is that it is brutally unsafe for every protective coating that sits on top of that paint. The solvents inside those sprays are industrial degreasers that were never formulated with your wax layer in mind. They were formulated to dissolve organic matter as fast and aggressively as possible, and they do not stop working when they hit the bug. They keep working right through your carnauba wax, right through your polymer sealant, right through the outer layers of your ceramic coating if you have one, and they leave your clear coat completely exposed and chemically vulnerable every single time you use them. And then, magnificently, conveniently, the same brand that sold you the bug remover also sells a premium car wax for $38 to restore the protection that their bug remover just destroyed. You are not a customer to these companies. You are a recurring revenue event. Every bottle of bug spray is a coupon for their wax line, and every bottle of wax lasts just long enough for the next road trip to leave your bumper covered in bugs again. They have monetized your frustration, your ignorance, and your paint simultaneously, and they are doing it with products that cause measurable long-term damage to your vehicle's exterior finish that you are paying for in the form of premature paint fading on the front hood, front bumper, and leading edges of your side mirrors. I need you to subscribe right now if you are watching this channel for the first time, because this is what we do here. We take apart these predatory product cycles and give you the actual chemistry so that you can opt out entirely. Hit that subscribe button and join this community because this specific piece of information about dryer sheets is going to save your paint and your money starting today. And everything else on this channel is built on the same foundation of real science and zero industry loyalty. Now, let me explain to you why the dryer sheet actually works. Because once you understand the chemistry, you will never reach for a spray bottle again. When an insect strikes the front of your vehicle at highway speed, the physical impact ruptures the exoskeleton, and all internal biological matter is immediately deposited onto your paint surface. As the drive continues and the sun heats the panel surface, the proteins and lipids within that biological matter begin a rapid drying process. The moisture evaporates, the proteins cross-link and harden, and the acidic compounds within the insect body, particularly formic acid and various amino acid derivatives, begin to chemically interact with the outermost layer of your clear coat. After several hours of heat exposure, this is no longer just a bug sitting on your paint. It is an acid-hardened protein matrix that is literally anchored into the microscopic pores of your clear coat surface. The bond between that hardened organic matter and your paint is not just mechanical adhesion. It has a chemical component driven by ionic attraction between the acidic insect residue and the polar surface of your clear coat. This is why scrubbing alone feels so ineffective. You are trying to break a bond that has both physical and chemical strength, and every time you apply mechanical force without addressing the chemical bond first, you are generating friction directly on your clear coat. Now here is where the dryer sheet becomes extraordinary from a chemistry perspective. Fabric softener dryer sheets are saturated with cationic surfactants, which is a specific class of surface active agents that carry a positive charge. The most common compounds used are quaternary ammonium salts, and their fundamental function in the laundry context is to penetrate textile fibers and reduce the electrostatic attraction between them. When you translate that exact mechanism to an automotive surface, something remarkable happens. The cationic surfactants in the dryer sheet are attracted to the negatively charged acidic proteins of the dried insect matter. When you activate the sheet with warm water and press it against the bug splatter, those surfactants migrate directly into the protein matrix. They insert themselves between the insect proteins and the clear coat surface, they disrupt the ionic bonds holding the two materials together, and they create a uniform hydrophilic barrier around each protein cluster. What this means in practical terms is that the insect residue is no longer bonded to your paint. It is now surrounded by a water-soluble lubricating layer that allows it to glide off the surface with almost no friction whatsoever. There is no abrasive action, there is no solvent penetrating your wax layer, there is no chemical aggression toward your clear coat. The surfactant simply does what it was designed to do, which is to reduce the bonding energy between organic matter and a surface, and your paint benefits from exactly the same mechanism that your shirt benefits from when it comes out of the dryer soft and static free. The dryer sheet does not know it is working on a car. It just knows how to break organic bonds, and bug guts are exactly that. Now let me dismantle the $20 aerosol can in more specific terms, because I want you to walk away from this video with a visceral understanding of what that product is actually doing to your vehicle every time you use it. If you flip a standard automotive bug and tar remover to the back label and look at the active chemical components, you will typically find a combination of petroleum distillates, which are refined fractions of crude oil with aggressive degreasing properties, alongside either D-limonene, which is a citrus-derived solvent, or more commonly, a glycol ether compound. Some premium formulations also include light aromatic naphtha. Every single one of these compounds is a solvent, meaning their mechanism of action is chemical dissolution. They work by penetrating the organic matter on your paint and breaking it down through chemical attack, not through surfactant-mediated bond disruption. The critical difference between a solvent and a surfactant is what they are willing to attack. A solvent does not discriminate. It will dissolve the insect proteins, and then it will begin to dissolve the wax molecules sitting on your clear coat, because carnauba wax and polymer sealants are also organic compounds with solubility in petroleum distillates. When you spray a bug remover on your front bumper, you are applying an organic solvent to a surface covered in organic protective compounds, and the solvent does its job perfectly. It removes everything organic. The bugs come off, the wax comes off, and the clear coat is left completely unshielded. If you have paid $300 or more for a professional ceramic coating application, what happens when you use these solvents repeatedly on the front end of your car is even more damaging. Ceramic coatings cure into a silica dioxide layer that has impressive chemical resistance, but the lower layers of the coating that bond to the clear coat are not infinitely solvent resistant, and repeated exposure to petroleum distillates degrades the coating adhesion from the bottom layer up, meaning your several $100 investment starts peeling and losing hydrophobic performance from the front of the car first, exactly where you use bug remover most frequently. The front bumper, the hood, leading edge, the front fenders, and the side mirrors lose their ceramic coating performance months or even years ahead of every other panel on the vehicle, and the reason is the repeated solvent application that the detailing industry never volunteers to discuss in its advertising. Now, I am going to walk you through the exact application protocol for the dryer sheet method, and I need you to follow this precisely because there is one critical warning at the end of this protocol that you absolutely cannot ignore, or you will create a different problem that is significantly harder to fix than a bug. Splatter. Start with your car fully cooled. Never apply this technique to a hot panel that has been sitting in direct sun because heat dramatically accelerates the chemical behavior of the fabric softener compounds and increases the risk of the residue issue I am about to describe. Get a dryer sheet, any brand, any scent, any softness level. It does not matter whether it is the premium brand or the store brand. The cationic surfactant chemistry is functionally identical across all standard fabric softener sheets. Fill a small cup or spray bottle with warm water. Not hot, not cold. Warm water accelerates surfactant activation without generating excess heat on the panel surface. Soak the dryer sheet in the warm water for about 5 seconds until it is fully saturated and pliable. Take the wet sheet and press it flat against the bug splatter. Do not rub, do not scrub. Simply lay it flat against the contamination and apply gentle palm pressure to ensure full contact between the sheet and the surface. Hold it there for 10 seconds. During those 10 seconds, the cationic surfactants are migrating into the protein matrix of the dried insect matter and establishing that hydrophilic barrier between the organic residue and your clear coat. After 10 seconds, with the gentlest possible wiping motion, draw the sheet across the surface. You are not scrubbing. You are essentially just providing a collection surface for the residue that has already released its bond with the paint. In the vast majority of cases involving standard highway bug accumulation, the insect matter will transfer completely to the sheet in a single wipe with zero resistance. For particularly thick accumulations of bugs that have been baked on for more than 24 hours, you may need to hold the saturated sheet in contact for 15 to 20 seconds before wiping. You can also fold the sheet to present a fresh surface for the second pass. The technique works on side mirrors, on front fascias, on hood leading edges, on windshield posts, and on any painted or glass surface where insect accumulation occurs. Now here is the critical warning, and I need you to give this your full attention because ignoring it will cost you significantly more time and money than the original bug problem ever would have. After you finish removing all visible insect residue from the panel using the dryer sheet method, you have a very specific window of time before the fabric softener residue on the surface becomes a problem. The same cationic surfactants that are so effective at breaking the insect protein bond are also capable of bonding to your clear coat surface if they are allowed to dry under heat and ultraviolet light exposure. If you complete the bug removal process and then leave the car in the driveway under the sun without washing the treated panels, the surfactant residue will dry in place on the clear coat. As it dries and the UV radiation from the sun begins to interact with the compound, it forms a cross-linked film on the paint surface that presents visually as a cloudy, hazy discoloration that is particularly obvious in direct light and from shallow viewing angles. This haze is not simply a surface residue that you can remove with a microfiber cloth or even a car wash. It is a chemically bonded film that requires machine polishing with a light cutting compound to properly remove, and depending on how long it has been baking in the sun, you may need to revisit the panel more than once to fully eliminate it. The solution to this risk is completely simple and takes 90 seconds. Immediately after completing the dryer sheet bug removal on every panel you treated, wash those panels with standard car wash soap and water. You do not need to wash the entire car. You need to wash the specific areas where you use the dryer sheet. A bucket of soapy water and a clean wash mitt is sufficient. The car wash soap is anionic or non-ionic in its surfactant chemistry, which means it is electrostatically compatible with neutralizing and lifting the cationic fabric softener residue off the clear coat before it has any opportunity to form that bonded film. Rinse thoroughly and dry the panel with a clean microfiber towel. That single post-treatment wash step is the difference between a flawless result and a hazy panel that requires machine correction to fix. Do not skip it. Do not tell yourself you will do it later. Do it immediately while the residue is still fresh and water soluble. Now, let me put everything in front of you in a direct comparison so you can see exactly what choice you have been making every time you reached for that aerosol can versus what you can do starting with the next road trip. The standard $20 automotive bug and tar remover takes approximately 10 to 12 minutes of active scrubbing to clear a heavily contaminated front bumper. It removes every trace of your car wax or ceramic coating in the process. It chemically stresses your clear coat with petroleum solvents. It leaves your paint completely unprotected the moment you are done. It costs $22 on average for a can that lasts maybe a season if you travel frequently. And it is the first step in a deliberate product loop designed to keep you buying wax and sealant to replace the protection it just stripped away. The dryer sheet method takes approximately 45 seconds from start to finish for the same contaminated bumper. It uses the same surfactant mechanism that works on organic fibers professionally to dissolve the insect protein bond without touching your protective coating. It generates zero friction on the paint surface. It leaves the clear coat in the same condition it was in before the bugs arrived. It costs approximately 5 cents per use, and it requires a 90-second soap and water rinse to complete the process safely. There is no category in that comparison where the $20 solvent wins. Not speed, not cost, not paint safety, not protection preservation, and not long-term vehicle condition. The only place the industrial solvent wins is in the marketing budget that the detailing industry spent convincing you that chemistry requires a brand name and a price point to be effective. If you have a friend who is planning a summer road trip, a family vacation down the coast, a long weekend drive across multiple states, or really any drive above 60 miles per hour that is going to put their front bumper in the direct flight path of every insect between here and wherever they are going, share this video with them right now before they get home and reach for the spray bottle. Sharing this video takes 3 seconds and it will save their paint, their money, and their shoulder from the 12-minute scrubbing session that the detailing industry has been charging them for since the first time they drove home from a highway trip and panicked at the bumper. Share it now. The information in this video is completely free and it is completely real, and every person who watches it is one fewer customer that the predatory detailing chemical companies get to exploit.